Hey guys, this is kind of like the first proper video I've done, because I haven't really uploaded much apart from the welcome to the channel thing. I want to just do a quick video about some tips about how to tell your parents, if you're still living at home obviously, that you think you may have some kind of, or at least that you're struggling with something. And for me, in my case, it was OCD. Although obviously, because I hadn't been diagnosed, I didn't specifically say I have OCD, because obviously I can't self-diagnose. But yeah, this is kind of a general video though, and some advice for people out there who are looking on the internet, who are struggling with anything and want some help with that. And this can be for any kind of problem you're facing, whether you're feeling depressed, you've got a high amount of anxiety, you're having intrusive thoughts a lot, anything. I just wanted to offer some advice, I guess. Obviously it's different from everyone, because I just want to specify something here. When I told them, my family were already really aware of mental illness, and the importance of mental health. Obviously not everyone's family is going to be like that, so I can try my best to tell you some things that could help, but at the end of the day I'm not in that situation, so I'm sorry, I can't tell. I can, however, offer advice if you know that your parents are going to be supportive of you, but you're just a bit scared about telling. I can offer some advice there about some things that can help with that. Okay, so first of all, if you have an idea of what's the problem, I would recommend, although this is not me saying self-diagnose at all, but if it's not just simply, I'm not saying, it's simple to have depression or anything like that, God no. But if it's not just that you're feeling depressed or anxious, if it's a bit more than that, like for me, it wasn't just anxiety, it was intrusive thoughts, which it was quite scary. If it's a bit more than that, obviously that is going to be really quite scary for you. I understand how you're feeling right now. If you're watching this and if you're watching this and you have intrusive thoughts, I understand how incredibly scary it is to tell someone. So just something I want to say as well, do not feel bad about the fact that you're scared about telling at all, because for me personally, what happened with me is when I was struggling, I originally told my parents something wasn't right within the first 2 weeks. I said, oh, I'm feeling a bit down, although that wasn't the full truth. I just needed to say something, because it was better than nothing. So I said that, and it gave them the attention that I kind of needed. In that sense, I needed to tell someone, even though it wasn't the full case. It was a starting point. Then after some major life events, the death of a really close family member, that's when the intrusive thoughts and stuff got a hell of a lot worse. And that's when I really, really needed the help. So I told them about how bad it was getting. I kind of went straight out and said, I want to see a doctor. And they said, okay, we'll go. And then when I went to see the doctor, they kind of went, okay, well, we can send you to a counsellor if you want, or you can just leave it for a bit, see if you get better on your own. And because I didn't quite like the idea at the time of going to therapy or anything like that, I settled on, oh, I'll see if I can get better. Kind of quite a big mistake, to be honest, because then after that was arguably the hardest 3 months of my entire life, so far anyway, because on top of dealing with the intrusive thoughts, I also had to deal with exams, and that was quite hard because, for example, I mean, I'm lucky it didn't impact me too much. In some ways I'm kind of glad I had the exams, because the anxiety from that distracted me enough. It was when I was in summer holidays that it got worse, because I didn't have as much distractions. But like even in exams, I would avoid, if there was a multiple choice question, I'd avoid things that I would link to those intrusive thoughts. You know, the avoidance is a compulsion in OCD. I would avoid those questions, and luckily it wasn't too bad because I could answer the other ones as well. So I was lucky in that regard. But I'd still get anxiety in the exams just by reading something that really wasn't really anything to get anxious about. And anyway, so after those exams, I then had the summer holidays, which I thought, oh, finally, the stress of the exams will be gone, I can get better. And little did I know, it would actually make things worse because I didn't have a distraction, an active distraction. I would say I didn't really have a proper summer holiday in 2014, to be quite honest, because I was focusing so much on trying to get better, and I didn't use any unhealthy techniques. Because I didn't like resort to anything bad, like I don't know, any kind of bad behaviours that may be unhealthy for me, because I had a strong suspicion, and this is where the whole, if you suspect you have something, maybe do a bit of research on it, comes into play, because I researched about, my initial thought it was just anxiety, but I knew it was a bit more than that, because it wasn't just anxious thoughts, it was scary, disturbing thoughts, to be quite honest. And yeah, obviously I'm not going to tell you what they are, because they're quite weird and I'd rather not. But yeah, and I knew it was a bit more than that, so I did some reading up, and then I discovered what intrusive thoughts are, and that was like the first time I felt like, oh my god, something's making sense here, because I had seen cases of these intrusive thoughts, and I was like a prime example of those thoughts, and I was like, oh my god. But I knew, because intrusive thoughts, they can be regular, but intrusive thoughts are just usually they can just be a thought and it might go away. When the OCD, because like intrusive thoughts are a part of everyone, and some people don't even notice they have them. Like I've told my friend, because my friends are aware of the fact I have OCD, and even the fact that it's intrusive thoughts based, and they're like, well, I don't get intrusive thoughts. When I said that everyone gets them, you may not notice you have them sometimes because you just overlook them completely, but in your whole entire life, I guarantee at some point you have had an intrusive thought, because they're innate in everyone, because it's linked to anxiety. It's part of the flight or fight response, and everyone gets anxiety. So at some point you've probably had it. It may have just popped in and you didn't realise it, but if you didn't have OCD or any mental illness in general, you probably overlooked it completely. Where the OCD comes into play is it spans into something else. You obsess over it, and this is why I knew it wasn't just simply intrusive thoughts. I just realised I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but it's important to tell this element of it so you can understand, so you might be able to relate. So yeah, I did some searching up because I knew it wasn't just intrusive thoughts, and that is when I discovered OCD for what it really is. Because beforehand, I'm not gonna lie, I was like everyone else. I thought OCD was something that was just about cleaning, I mean, actually, to some extent, I acknowledge that OCD. I acknowledge that OCD was a serious disorder, and I was like, people with OCD, you know, it's debilitating because they can't get out of the house because they're too scared of becoming infected or something. I acknowledge it was really, really debilitating, but I still thought it was just about contamination. I had no idea it could span into this. So yeah, it was relieving, to be honest, to discover that that's something that I wasn't even a weird case of OCD. I was a really, 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 really common case of OCD, which made me feel so much relieved. Obviously, because it's OCD, I still doubted, and then from that I spent some compulsions, but that's not what this video's about right now. Anyway, the point is, first of all, if you think it's more than just depression or anxiety, do a little bit of research on it, but I'm not saying self-diagnose. Do not assume you have it, because what I did was I acknowledged I basically worked off the assumption that this is what it was, because I need something to make me feel a little less horrible. But I didn't say, okay, I 100% have OCD because I've researched. No, I went to a doctor to confirm that. So I'm not saying do not self-diagnose, but I do recommend looking a little bit up on what you think you may have, to just get a general idea. Now, as for the actual telling, what I told my parents specifically, to be honest, that at first originally I told them, I told them that originally, obviously, that I was just feeling down, which wasn't the full case. I eventually did tell them, I didn't tell them what thoughts, but I told them that I was having intrusive thoughts, and because my mum works in mental health, she did some research on them, and she came back to me saying, oh, just so you know, these are they're completely normal, and they've actually been linked to OCD as well. So even my mum, to some extent, was acknowledging it could be that. So yeah. And what was I going to this? Yeah, so they were acknowledging it as well. So I told them why I did eventually say I really do believe this could be OCD, and I want to go to a doctor because I'm serious about this. So I then told them about a past experience that I know for a fact pretty much was OCD related, which again I'm not going to specialise in this video. I'm going to talk about that in some other stuff. But yeah, so I told them, but before telling them, I did try a technique or a method that I saw online about some people, when they couldn't verbalise what they're saying because they're just too anxious, and I understand that completely. They wrote down a letter, and what I tried originally was leaving a letter overnight for them to just see and then read. I did this like 3 nights or something, because they come into my room sometimes, like, because stuff like anyway. So I was hoping that they'd just read it, because I was just too scared to tell them myself. They didn't read it in the end. The truth is, I mean, you can try that. That might work. Personally, for me, that didn't work in the end. In the end, I had to just go for it and tell them. I'm just saying, if you know for a fact that your parents aren't going to judge, then I can promise you that really they won't judge. Because at the end of the day, if you know they're not going to judge you in any way, and they will take you seriously, then there's no real worry about it. For me, I knew they wouldn't judge. It was more fear that they'd be scared for me, and the idea of them being scared for me was really scary for me. Yeah, and I did actually tell them that. I said I didn't tell you for ages because I was just so scared that you'd be scared. And to be honest, you can't help that reaction. They probably are going to be a bit worried for you. But that's a natural response, okay? That's something that they're going to do. They're your parents. If you're scared about making them worried, at the end of the day, if you're suffering, you need to tell. I know it's hard because you don't want them to worry about you. But at this point, if you're struggling, your mental health is more important than what your parents think of you, and that's just a fact. So yeah, I know saying, oh, just tell them is probably not what you wanted to hear, but there's not much else you can do, really. I mean, you can try the letter. I've heard people online who have done that, and it worked. You could also try writing a letter saying, I need to talk to you about something, but I couldn't talk to you, so here's the letter, and let them read it. Now, I saw people saying that they did that. Personally, for me, I felt like, I don't know who's likely to do that. I mean, like I said, some people said they actually did do that, but I just didn't really, I don't know if people would, like, really do that. I don't know, I just felt like talking was probably the best option. I know it's so, anyway, I know it's really, really, really cliche to say, but it's true. If you tell them that, you'll feel a lot better. I know I did. I was practically like, when they said, okay, we'll go to the doctor again, because they said if we go back to the doctor, if the doctor said if we come back, we can organise a referral for the counsellor. So, yeah, and that night I was like, ooh, I was kind of celebrating a bit. I was just so happy that night, and you will be happy because you're getting help. So yeah, I might as well talk a little bit about what happened after that. So that's all of that is how I went through telling that I needed help. And yeah, if you're in a position where you're not sure about how they're going to react, maybe they don't acknowledge, maybe they're ignorant and don't acknowledge mental health as a real thing, or mental illness as a real thing, or maybe they're just like, they don't want to acknowledge that you're struggling with something. I can't say I know how to react to that, because I don't, to be quite honest, and I really want to know, but I can't say, well, you just tell them anyway, because I'm not in your situation. I don't know that I don't know how you think they're going to react, and how they are actually going to react. But I can say that if they really do love you, then they should just, they really should just let you get better. But I know that may not necessarily happen. If you are someone who is struggling and you know that your parents may not necessarily acknowledge it, it may be better to find someone else who has experience with that on YouTube. Look in the description. I don't know if I will add it. I'll try and find a video of someone who has gone through that experience, and I will link to that. But I personally can't offer experience on that, and it'd be a lie to say I do. I can't tell you what you can do. I don't want to say something that could be bad for you, really. But anyway, since I talked a bit about that, I might as well talk a bit about the process after that. Okay, really quickly. In the UK, if you are in the UK, after seeing a doctor and explaining what's wrong with you, and also going to the doctor, I recommend writing some notes beforehand about what you're going to say exactly, because you will probably forget something under that anxiety. They don't judge about having notes. I was a bit embarrassed about having notes as well, but they don't judge at all because they understand. Read from those notes, and what happened with me is they said, we can recommend you to a counsellor through CAMS, which is Child and Adolescent Mental Health Service. And I went through that, and through that, it's not very nice what happens, because after that, there is a long wait, and this is where it really pisses me off, to be honest, about how long the wait is. I waited for at least, I I went to the doctor's just before the end of summer, which is September, and I didn't get an appointment until I don't know, about, I think it was, I don't know, about mid-October, maybe near the end of October, I think. No, I don't know actually. I can't remember, to be quite honest. It was about, I think it was about a month wait, and that was really, actually no, I think it was at the start of September, and then like at the beginning of October that I went. What happens is they send you a letter eventually. It will come eventually, so if you feel like for ages, oh, it's never going to come, I know it's never going to arrive, it will. Trust me, it will arrive. It just takes a while sometimes because they put you on a list, and it's really bad. There should be improved times on that, but there's nothing I can do about that. But I promise it will arrive. So then after that wait, the letter will say who you're going to see. It will say where it is, and you will go there. And yeah, so that's the process of telling, and then what happens a bit after that. I will talk about what the first session is like and stuff in another video, because this has been quite a long video already. But yeah, I hope to anyone who's wondering how to tell parents, and they know they're going to react well to it, but they're just really scared to, I hope you feel a bit more informed. And for people who don't think the parents may be as acknowledging of it, again, I will try and find one and look in the description, but I'm not guaranteeing there will be one there. I will try and find one though. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you've been a bit more aware of it, and thanks for watching.